In my previous video, I had explained how to write the first C++ program, which prints "Hello World" on the screen. Now we will run this program. After that, we will write a program to accept two numbers from the user and add the numbers and then print the result on the screen. For this, now we will be using an IDE, which is an integrated development environment. Using an IDE, you can write and edit the code. You can also compile and run it. There are many popular IDEs out there. Some are free and others are licensed. So the most popular IDEs are MS Visual Studio, Xcode, C-Line, and Turbo C++. We will be using Turbo C++ because it's easy to download and simple to use and follow. So next you will be writing a program to accept two numbers from the user and then print the result on the screen after adding these two numbers. Before you write the next program, you need to go over some simple theory of C++ programming. Most important is data types and variables. This is a very important part of the C++ programming language, so please do listen carefully. You need to understand this to write further programs in C++. So in C++, there are two different data types. First is primary data type and the second is secondary data types. Primary data types are the basic types of data, which are char, which means character, which stands for character, int, which stands for integer, float, which stands for a number with a floating point or decimal point, and double, which is a long form of the floating point number. So char is a character and int is integer, float is a number with a floating point or decimal, and double is a number which has double the number of bytes of floating point number. Secondary data types can be of type array, pointer, structure, etc., but we will not go into that just now because we are just starting with C++, and this you can cover when you go to the advanced levels. For a start, we will just start with the primary data types. So when we want to store any data in the memory of a computer, we cannot just store it without giving it any specifications. We need to specify its data type, and we also have to give it a name. Only then it can be stored in the memory if you specify these two things, that is data type and name. For example, data type can be character, which is char, or integer, that is int, or a number with a floating point will be called float. At this stage, a location in the memory is assigned for this data. For example, we can declare some data of type int having the name num, short for number. Now that memory is allocated for num, we can store any integer value, say 10, in this memory by typing num equal to 10. At some other time, we may change this value to 12 by typing num equal to 12. So the value stored in this location, that is the value of int, can be changed. Hence it is a variable. We will come to variables again later and study them in detail. and understand how they work and function. For any variable that you want to store in the memory of a computer, you have to specify its data type. For specifying data type, also, there is a syntax like we have syntax for writing a C++ program. First, you need to specify the data type and then the name. So, this is the syntax to declare a variable. Data type and then name. For example, we can have data type as int and name as num, or data type as int and name as x. It can be anything. The name can be anything. But if you write int and then you write the name as my num with a space in between, that will be considered wrong. It has to be without any spaces, one word. So here we can take any other data type, that is char, which means character, or float, which means a number with a decimal point. To download Turbo C++, go to the link I have provided in the description box. Click on this link. You will see a download option on the screen. Click on download. The exe file will get downloaded. Run the exe file. Install Turbo C++ from the exe file. So now we come to the first C++ program, which prints hello world on the screen. The first two lines, hash include iostream.h and hash include conio.h, include the header files in the program. Without this, the program will not run. So make sure to include these files in every C++ program. Next line we have main parenthesis. Main is also very important. This is where a C++ program starts running. Before main, we have added the keyword void. This is called the return type. We can use any data type here, that is int, char, or float. After this, we have the two curly brackets. Within these two curly brackets, we have the code of the program. The first statement of the code is CLR SCR. This will clear the screen. It will erase everything on the screen so that we can see the output properly. This is followed by a semicolon. Every line in a C++ program ends with a semicolon. Semicolon terminates a line. What comes after the semicolon is the next line. So next we have the line cout, then angular brackets and hello world in inverted commas. Cout is responsible for displaying the output on the screen. So this line will print hello world on the screen. This line is again followed by a semicolon. Semicolon is compulsory after every line, otherwise we get an error. Next line getch parenthesis holds the screen for you to see the output. The program will move forward only when you press a key. In this case, the program will end now. From the menu on the top, click on Compile and then on Compile again from the drop down menu. The program has been compiled successfully here. Click on Run from the menu on top. You can see the screen. The screen is now on hold. Click any key. Your program has terminated. You just ran your first C++ program successfully.